Hello and welcome to Fallout tutorial number 10 video. This has been an interesting ride, and I'll sum up and hopefully overlay some of the footage that I shot. I spent all day yesterday working out all sorts of techniques and tips on how to paint pixels. These are light boxes, these are the smaller ones. And also I had to strip down my camp completely because I just ran out of room, and in fact if I go to my build option you can see it's now full. But I learned a lot of things along the way. Now what was I trying to do? Well, I was trying to build Donkey Kong, the actual Donkey Kong gorilla from the game, from 1981 arcade, and that's as far as I got. If I'm overlaying footage, and I'm not sure if Share Factory allows you to do that, but if I'm overlaying footage, then you'll see some of the clips from the video, but I can talk about it anyway. I ran out of space, and I spent a lot of time on this wiring, and it's all very neat. You can see it there. And in my previous video I mentioned that you had to hook up a terminal to change the color, and one of the most important things I got, and I had to scrap all the beds so they're not happy, my settlers. Yeah, one of the most important things was, yes, you can hook up a terminal, change the lights. I have different wiring schematic connections, so I could change different colors, and you don't have to. You can just go up to any light and it'll run through every color that it can do. I think there's about 16 colors. In the terminal it says normal, bright and dim, and it does make a big difference, but not so much on the brightness but more on the coloring. So the red that I've got here, when I come around and get it, which was going to be Donkey Kong's main body color, let's keep going. There, that's the bright version of that red. When it's in a cluster at night, it looks very yellowy, and there you see it goes red, and there's the dim version. But using that, it's like half bright mode on the Commodore 64. You could get quite a lot of variance in the coloring, and you could also use it as an anti-aliasing if you're familiar with that, should you so need. But for what it's worth, in Starlight Express, if you're doing pixel art on the PlayStation version of this game, and I'm using a Pro here, and yes, there's a couple of bits that I've missed that I forgot to scrap, and there's a ladder there. They would make an insignificant difference into the build space. You might get one or two more light boxes out of that, but that's the number of pixels and wiring that you can get away with. So it's not a lot. I had grandiose goals, and I thought I might run out of space, but I thought I'd get further than that, and that took me all day. Although I was experimenting with a number of different techniques on how to color large areas without filling the entire area. But all is not lost. I really, after doing the Space Invaders, I want to do a color sprite that animates. I don't think it's been done before. I'm sure it probably has. I haven't seen it, is what I'm saying. In the Fallout build editor on a console, I know there's lots of glitches and tips and stuff like that that you can do on the PC to allow you to build anything you want. And yes, you can glitch scrap on consoles to get more space. Speaking of that, the one tip takeaway that I took from this, which I didn't know, and I've spent thousands of hours in this game, is if you scrap something, if you store something rather than scrap it. So I'm going to store one of these light boxes, and that's B or circle, depending on which console you've got. If you store it, it doesn't, it doesn't break it down into its component parts in the workbench. And if you go to the workbench, there's no way to tell that you've stored that. There's no like stored items. So after a while, and when I was scrapping, oh hang on, that's not what I want to do. After I was scrapping everything, it was like, what have I got? Because in the works you've got junk, aid, that's it. So where's that scrapped light box gone? And how do you know how many things you've got scrapped? Because when I was scrapping this place, there were so many things that I'd built and stored, and they all contribute to the actual space in your workbench. Well, I'll show you where it is. And maybe everyone knew this, and I was the only idiot that didn't. I knew that if you had a number, say I was going to build something here, and it says floor and roof on the right there, just below the word beds in red, and it says 37. That's the total number that I could build based on the current amount of stuff I've got. In this case, I'm low on steel, that's why it's only 37. If I put that down and the steel didn't go down, then I know that that's one that I got stored. But that's still not enough. That doesn't tell you much. Well, look at this. I just stored a light box. It's the only thing I've stored because I've emptied everything. And if you go to light boxes, which is under power miscellaneous, it's the little one. There's a 1 under it. Do you see that down the bottom in the middle there? The 1 indicates the number of stored stuff that you've got. This alone was worth me messing around yesterday, because as I was going through all of my structures, especially in wood, over the years that I've been playing this current save, there was 1s and 2s and 5s and 7s and stuff of all this stuff, which is fine if you're just general building, but if you're trying to clear out, effectively reset this area, that's where you find them. And I put them down and I scrapped each one, and of course you lose something, you won't get the finer stuff like aluminium back and stuff like that, but I wanted the space, not the resources. So what I'm going to do now is make this into Mario hitting a barrel with a hammer animated in color. I think I've got enough pixels there. I might not have enough to do the barrel, but I certainly think I've got enough pixels to do the original sprite animation from the 1981 arcade machine, Donkey Kong. And I'm going to use the logic that I used on the Space Invaders, all of which I've scrapped to save space, so I'm going to have to rebuild all that. That's okay. And then, when that's all said and done, I'm going to have to put all sorts of stuff back here, like defense and beds, to make these guys happy. So, in a moment, we shall jump. I'm not going to show the build of this, and hopefully we will have Donkey Kong. In my mind's eye, I've got him facing left, with the barrel about here, with him standing there, hammer going to about here, whack. Whack. Let's see what happens. Join me in a minute. Well, as so often happens, as you're working on this, you get annoyed. It's a tedious, frustrating thing, and this is where I currently am. And all of these settlers were coming up to me and saying, we need beds, we need food. And they were... In this game, if an NPC walks towards you, it moves you. So as I'm trying to alter these pixels and do the wiring around the back, I kept getting jostled around by these buggers wanting beds. And so, unfortunately, this happened. I don't know what happened. I mean, I just went into a blind rage. Yes, and I've taken away the beacon, so no more settlers will turn up. I can hear some shooting going off in the distance there. So anyway, I just thought that was funny. I will actually put this settlement back and get all these people back. But for now, I'm busy. Yes, that had to happen. Anyway, on we go. Oh boy, this has been a long road. I have learned a lot though, and I've enjoyed it. This has taken me 2 days to get to where I am, but if I was to redo it, it'd probably only take 2 hours. So, I gave up trying to make Donkey Kong the gorilla because I ran out of space. I killed all the settlers in here, and as you can hear, there's something running. And of course, by killing the settlers, I also lost my supply line, which meant, at first I was going to Diamond City and buying stuff, and then I thought, I have to go and start rebuilding here. But without further ado, and I'll show you it in detail in a moment, let's just go and have a look. There we go. Obviously I'd prefer it if it was faster. The interval timer can only do 1 second as a minimum, which is a shame because the other timers you can do 1/8 of a second. There are ways around this that I could think of. One would be to have trigger switches, say laser trips or something with a ball rolling in between. Basically a physical switch using physics rolling down. That would trip faster and then put the ball back at the top. Use the ball as a clock, like those ball bearing clocks you can get. I couldn't obviously make his arm. His arm actually goes up there and covers his face. You can't change the colours, so I couldn't do that. So I left his hand off here. His hand is sort of about here. But for Fallout 4, I've never seen an animated sprite in Fallout 4. Maybe other people have done it. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. A little. But given how much time I've spent on it, it is possible. And I've got quite a lot of build room left now that I've cut that down. 10-15%. And I thought about doing the oil drum and having the 2 frames of animation in the oil drum where it's on fire come off the same logic. And by the way, if the first time you've seen one of my vids and you want to know what this logic is, this is an exclusive OR, this is exclusive not OR. Please look at think Fallout tutorial 8 and beyond, or maybe 7, and you'll get an idea of how they work. It took me literally about 10 seconds to knock that up. It took me longer to place the wires. So what do we have here? I have the 2 speakers. I like the percussion, which is that one there, hitting the ground. And you can change the percussion without hooking up a computer. See what that is? That's a t sound, don't like that. There we go. This is probably more in keeping with the game, actually. Again, if this was going really quick, it would look pretty much like the game. You would be fooled by the fact that I haven't done the ARM. Aficionados of the original arcade machine will know that I didn't do the ARM there, but hopefully most people who watch this video didn't realise it. I learned quite a lot about this. Oh, I've coloured that one in wrong. Look at that. That's slightly green at the top there. The mallet is smaller at the top than it is here, and at first I thought I did it wrong, but no, it is. The splash on the ground is 1 pixel higher, and I recreated that. And so I originally was going to put a barrel here, but of course there's no way to make this transparent. I can't change the colors using switches. Hopefully, there's probably a mod there that'll do that. But I would like to show you the wiring, which if you go back to my 1, 2, 3 numbers video, Fallout 7, 6 or something like that, it was a mess. And although it seems like messy here, it's only because I've moved things far away. Once I tuck things against the drive-in wall here, it'll be neat. And look at this. Look at this wiring. I didn't bodge any of it. That looks like a bit of a bodge. No, that's okay. It's all following a logic. It's neat and tidy, and anyone coming into this who didn't build this would be able to follow it completely. I had to do diagonals there. I thought about putting blocks that didn't light up, and I thought, no, they're just going to float in the air like the pixels that they are. Certainly, it was time-consuming to do it this way, because 1, my controller's got a little bit of a twitch in it, and 2, you have to Y click. I'm using a PlayStation 4, so I should say triangle, click, triangle, click, triangle, click, and even picking up the right one was difficult. Colouring each one in was a pain. Hang on, I've got my light on. I don't want that. I did make it night. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. I don't know why it hasn't done that. No, I'll do that in a minute. And Fallout's idea of night is like no one else's on the planet. Skyrim has the same problem. It's never black. If you want to see black, go and play something like Dying Light. You can't see a thing. So, yeah, there we go. The result of many hours of experimentation and colorization, and I was so happy with my Space Invader, but I'm much happier with this. I'd like to see it in complete darkness. So we'll cut and I'll go to dark and we'll come back. I think this is as dark as I'm going to get it. For some reason, the moon is bright tonight and it's just going to be what it is. I think it's also because I've got the it's further away. I do have it on a rug, so let's see if I can rug glitch it. It's right there. Oh, I can. We can put it in the dark here, over here. How's that? Obviously I'd move these posts out the way and stuff like that. Look at that. That's great. And these are using the smaller light boxes. I used the larger ones for the Space Invaders. They just look huge now for some reason. Let's quit that. And in my previous video I talked about how you can change the lighting of the light boxes using a console monitor terminal. You can just click on them. No harm in doing that until you find the right color. And because it's got the semi-dark, now I'm never going to find it again. I think it's one more. There you go. See, that's how much I've done this. I know where the colors are in order. Yeah, I would have preferred the blue to be darker and his skin to be paler and stuff like that, and I could probably try and tweak that. But anyway, Donkey Kong sprite animation working in Fallout 4. Take a look at my other videos if you want to learn how to do this. And I think, you know, you could build something bigger. Like I say, I've got 15% more. I think you could add at least another 50% of blocks to this. I certainly was overreaching trying to make the entire gorilla out of Donkey Kong. I mean, imagine how big that would be compared to Mario. It would be so much bigger than I was anticipating. Of course, if I'd have sat down and counted the blocks and worked it all out, I would have not started it. But anyway, as always, thanks for watching. If you want to see some other stuff, go and have a look at my other videos. It kind of like starts as an embryonic opening of a door about here, going through to number counting, going through to Space Invaders, going through to this. I don't know where to go next. Leave me a comment. I'd like to be able to make a proper game using the logic gates and maybe balls and stuff like that. Oh yeah, that's right. I also had a burning of settlers moment. I'm waffling because I'm just so happy looking at it. My name is Vinny Voodoo. Go to the Build Editor experiment, have fun, and I'll talk to you soon.